Now welcome to another lightning response video, where this time we got several questions, most of which will be Skeleton Crew related, but we start with this one from a lone battle droid who asked, "Hey Thor, I've been wondering if Disney's handling of Star Wars has caused you to feel differently about the original 6 films. I ask because currently I'm trying to rewatch the whole saga to update my feels on them, but currently I'm on episode 4 watching in release order. And even with classic Star Wars, I'm starting to feel apathetic towards it. I still enjoy it and think it's good, but it's just not the same. Maybe it's just because I'm older or I'm more cynical now, but still." And actually, I think I may have a greater appreciation of the original 6 films now. Not that everything Disney has done in the last decade, not that it's been all terrible, but certainly a lot of it has been subpar Star Wars. And when I went back recently and rewatched the original versions of the original trilogy, the non-special editions versions, which I hadn't seen in roughly 27 years since the special editions came out, well, it reminded me of how much I just enjoy and love Star Wars for what it is. It gave me a lot of that same joy that I once had watching them, because I wasn't trying to compare Disney to what Lucas had done, what the EU had done. It was just Star Wars. And I don't think anything is ever going to change that for me. I don't think anything can really detract or take away from those first 6 films for me. Though that said, I certainly understand people who are maybe growing a little weary of Star Wars, in part, of course, because of Disney's handling, and maybe in part because you are older and you just have kind of moved on from it. It's not that you don't have fond memories of Star Wars. It's not that you don't love it anymore. You're just not in love with it anymore. It is not what it once was. It doesn't capture that same kind of magic it once did for whatever reason, because it's not as good, or because you're just not a kid anymore, or the things that you initially enjoyed about it just aren't there anymore. Whatever it might be, you love Star Wars, but you're not in love with what it is today, which is fine. I don't think that makes you any less of a Star Wars fan. I recently read a comment from someone who said if you don't like the new stuff, then you're not a real Star Wars fan. And I kind of get where you're coming from with a statement like that. But at the same time, even if you just love the first movie, if you love A New Hope, and you don't even call it A New Hope because it wasn't A New Hope when you saw it, even if that's the only thing you love, then you're still a Star Wars fan. We don't get to dictate or determine what qualifications we put on that. You yourself do. You can be a fan no matter what. And yes, I understand to a degree the other side of that, the gatekeeping side. I'm not for gatekeeping, but I do understand when people come into the fandom, they're new to the fandom, and they're like, well, this old stuff that you like, it's garbage, we got to change this, we got to change that. Then, well, don't expect to be warmly welcomed by the people who have been watching it for the last 4 decades. But anyway, before I ramble on and get way off topic here, I do understand this sentiment. I do understand why people are growing apathetic or tired of Star Wars. And I see it all the time. I've seen it a lot over the last 8 years of doing YouTube. I have read, I don't even know how many comments that say something to the effect of, "Hey Thor, I love your work, I love what you do, but I'm just not into Star Wars anymore and I'm moving on." And for me, not just because I do YouTube and I cover Star Wars, I could transition to other things, I suppose, and I have thought about trying to do more videos about other things, don't get me wrong, but I have made the conscious choice to keep loving Star Wars, to go back and play some of the old games, to reread some of the EU books I love, to do these things because I don't want to let it go. I do love it, and I'm still in love with it, maybe not the same way I was when we first met, to really embrace this analogy, but I still love Star Wars. I don't hate everything Disney has done. And I want to keep loving Star Wars. I want to keep talking about it, not just because I love Star Wars, but because I do have a lot of people I love to talk Star Wars with, whether that be in the comments section or in my Discord or in my personal life. So yeah, I get it. I get people growing apathetic, but for me, I'm always going to try to do what I can to keep my love of Star Wars strong. Alright, well that answer got maybe a little strange, so we'll move on to this question now from Terry Thompson, who asked, "Hey Thor, I'm going to ask this question. Should Skeleton Crew end up being good throughout?" And the question is going to be, is this the win Kathleen Kennedy asked for? Let's stay tuned. And as much as some people out there do not like Kathleen Kennedy, and I am not her number one fan, I've certainly had some less than friendly things to say about her over the years, but in this weird sort of way, going along with that comment from not long ago about how she wanted to go out with a win, which is what you're referencing here, I believe, I do think if you want her to go, you should be, in a way, rooting for her. And I know that sounds weird, and if you don't want to root for her just because you don't want to root for her, I get that too. But if she does string together some wins, if we do get some good shows and movies, well, we then get good shows and movies, right? Which was a refreshing change perhaps from what we have been getting. But also I think she would be more inclined to leave, whether or not that rumor or leak about her saying she wants to go out on a win is true. I do think she understands that she has really kind of screwed up Star Wars, that Rey was not the iconic character she wanted her to become, hence why she is doubling down on Rey, because she wants to fix that. She wants to fix her legacy. And so even though I think the odds of, say, a Rey trilogy or whatever it is going to end up being, I think the odds of that being well received by fans and being really, really good is probably low. If it is good, she'll probably call it quits. She'll probably feel like, well, I kind of redeemed myself the best I could. Time to move on. Because honestly, I don't feel like, just based off hearing virtually nothing lately, and the fact that she has been interviewed and it doesn't sound like she's going anywhere anytime soon, but I think our best hope for her to be gone in 3 years is for her to put out some good Star Wars, to feel like she has fixed her legacy, and for her to decide to move on, because it's quite clear at this point that Disney is not going to fire her or let her go or not renew her contract. I mean, if we're keeping it real, if we are looking at it objectively, she has had plenty of failures that you would really think would warrant her being let go at this point, and the fact that they haven't says they're just not going to do it for whatever reason. Okay, and now on to this question from Tortilla Bill, who asked, "Hey Thor, doesn't the positive view of the Jedi kind of give us a timeline on when the planet became hidden, or if they get info from the rest of the galaxy?" And of course he's talking about Aton from Skeleton Crew, and I do think the positive view of the Jedi, at least the positive view that Wim has, is pretty strong evidence, or more evidence, to the fact that this planet has been hidden since well before the Empire took over. It does seem like once upon a time they were a part of the Republic. The fact that Wim is given credits by his father, old Republic credits that they still use as modern day currency on their planet, is proof that yes, at some point, somewhere along the way, they had something to do with the Republic. My guess being this planet has the material that was used or is still used to make Republic credits, hence why it is a treasure planet, hence why pirates want to find it, because there are riches on the planet. But yeah, I do think the fact that the Jedi apparently are seen as positive, that they have all these old stories, does, again, mean that this was once a part of the Republic, it was once a part of the larger galaxy, if they know about the Jedi, and that something has happened in the meantime, and it is no longer in the loop, because I don't think they are getting information from the rest of the galaxy like you suggest. Alright, and one more question, and it comes to us from a certain point of view who asked, "Hey Thor, I like and relate to the point you made after this mark. Earth-like planet of Aton feels a bit too suburban for Star Wars. However, to make a counterpoint, I think this will pay off in the end, depending on how they pull it off. Obviously, I think Aton will end up to be a dystopian society that serves a higher purpose, like probably many. So I think its vibe to be very similar to Earth, maybe a shot at our own use of certain civil designs used in our own society that push a certain agenda. Don't want to sound like I'm talking conspiracy, but even in America, there was a push to suburban city planning to align with the introduction of the automobile. In Soviet civil planning, we saw grid-like structures centered around a national monument. Could Aton be an imperial dystopian blend of the two, serving a higher purpose or great work, and its resemblance to Earth purposely done to resemble our own societies? Maybe looking into this too much, but definitely a thought I had early on. Hope I've explained that well enough to hint what I'm getting at." And yeah, I certainly see what you are hinting at here. I don't think you're seeing things. I certainly think there is a bigger mystery, and that there is something going on with their society, and that it'll be a big part of the story, at least more for adult viewers, I think. It could be that they are, I don't know about taking a shot at society or anything like that per se, but it could be one of those examples where sometimes in a more kid-oriented show or movie, they will put something in there that just goes way over the head of the younger viewers, and the adults pick up on it and get the message, if you will, or sometimes it's just humor, or sometimes it actually is more of a profound message. Either way, I don't know how deep they're going with it, but there's clearly something here. I don't know that they just made it look like suburban America for the nostalgia. There could be a bigger message at play here. I don't think whatever it is going to end up being the Empire. Like I said in response to a previous comment, I don't think they've had contact with the rest of the galaxy in a long time. but certainly something has happened. Certainly this is some kind of strange situation that maybe feels a bit like communism. I'm not sure. Certainly it feels like taking your place in the great work, and we are going to figure out what you are going to do with your life, and we have a police force made up of droids, it seems. There are a lot of signs or hints or clues that something is not right with this planet, and my guess is that the kids are going to go find out some big secret about this planet, pretty obviously, and bring that information back, and I don't know what happens then. I don't think we're going to go into any sort of revolution on Aton or anything like that. But certainly there is a bigger plot here, which I think is what has interested me the most about the show. Now, yes, I enjoy the simple fun aspect of it, that it is a kid's show and it's an adventure in space, and it is cool, it's great in that respect too. But so far it is that bigger mystery that as an adult who maybe will get something to really sink my teeth into, as you're kind of talking about here, that is very much enjoying it. But either way, I think that is going to be all I got for you this time. Now it is your turn. Take to the comments below. Tell me what you think about any and all of my answers, or give your own answers to these questions as well. Or you can always ask a question for a future lightning response video. Just start your comment off with "Hey Thor" and then ask away. But whatever you choose to do, leave a comment below. Let's talk some Star Wars. And until next time, thanks for watching.